the coming mass depopulation of men, leaving Eve vulnerable, grieving, and unprotected. So mass depopulation of men coming. A lot of men is about to die. Right through World War III, draft, especially the young men between the ages of 15 and 25. And I'm led to believe that it's going to stretch that age range for the draft is going to stretch maybe even to men in their 40s, right? And the scriptures, it speaks about the Lord gathering all the nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And what Jehoshaphat means God's judgment, Yahweh's judgment, right? So everybody that's going to fight in World War III, especially the troops on the ground, they're going to be the ones that have the most casualties in war, right? They're going to be the ones that, be killed in action, the men of the so-called black community, right? A lot of your YNs, even 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds maybe, that's capable of combat, that's able-bodied. When they go over there, they're not coming back. And also they're going to perish and die from starvation because food shortages on an extreme level is coming. The Lord says he's going to break the staff of bread. All right. The Lord's going to send the evil arrows of famine to destroy a lot of men of Israel. And this is divine punishment, divine judgment, divine retribution for the rebellion and wickedness that's being committed. And this is going to affect women of the so-called black community, the Israelite women. It's going to affect them the most because Israelite men are already suffering, from mass incarceration, gang culture, homicide rates in these different cities, A lot of them are homosexuals. So the pool of available Israelite men is already, at a decline. You know what I'm saying? For lack of better words, it's already a small portion of us in the grand scheme of things. But in that day, when a lot of these end time prophecies start to overtake America, overtake the world, when it comes to societal collapse, chaos, civil war, race war, World War III, disease, famine, so forth and so on, this is going to completely decimate the male population. And women are going to become very desperate. That's where Isaiah 13 and 12 come into play. I'll make a man more precious than fine gold. Right? A righteous Israelite man will be more precious than fine gold. It's going to take a societal collapse for women to recognize our value, the value of a man of the Lord, a man that fears the Most High. They're going to need us for survival. They feel like, we're insignificant, and they lightly esteem us, because they have options. Social media has twisted their minds and perception. Simps, weak men that they can control, men that worship, these women just for, to try to get sexual access. Well, these guys that they currently have chasing them in the modern dating pool, these guys are going to die. And the only ones that's going to be left surviving are the ones that's doing the work right now. Teaching, preaching, prophesying, reading, praying, fasting, doing what they have to do to make their call and election sure. Serving the Lord that's faithful, that believe in Yahweh Shai. These men are going to be necessary for survival. You ain't going to have to take them out on no date. They ain't going to want no money from you. They ain't going to want nothing. Isaiah 4:1. In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we'll eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Bread, apparel, what it is, food and clothes. So, in the law, that's your legal obligation when it comes to, marriage or having your woman, your wife. Like it says in Exodus, if he take him another wife, her food and her raiment shall he not diminish, right? And the duty of marriage as well, right? But in that day, they're going to be like, you don't have to do these things for us. Only let us be called by your name, So that's marriage. So the biblical concept of marriage is not the modern way of doing it. Through paperwork, and getting a ring, getting on one knee, proposing, going down the aisle, getting an expensive ass wedding, and this, that, and the third. No, it's simply sex. A man and a woman coming together on an intimate level. That's how man and a woman becomes one. That's how two become one flesh. And a man can become one flesh with multiple women. Yes. It's something that you may not have heard about before. Brothers in the truth, they understand it. But for a lot of people, in this society, that had that modern new age way of thinking, they have a problem with it, because they filter biblical truths through, their emotional modern mindset, and it can't work like that, man. The scriptures say what it say, the prophecies say what it say, and the Lord's going to fulfill His word. And a part of those prophecies is the Lord is cutting off the population of men, and a lot of women going to be left. A lot of them, 7 is a number of completion or perfection. And they're going to be desperate, thirsty, chasing, pursuing men of the Lord. In that day, the man of the Lord's value is going to increase exponentially. You know, you see the way that these women nowadays uh, worship celebrities, you know, guys that have social media clout, Chris Brown, Duke Dennis, King 6'8" the Great, you know. What's that guy that played on that boxing movie, man? The actor, um, Michael B. Jordan. And what's that guy's name that played on Rebel Ridge? Aaron Pierre. You know, so these are guys that's considered desirable by women, and women be, you know, fiending over these guys. You know, be ready to risk it all for these dudes. You know, because they famous and they got money, So you know, it's crazy what women would do for the money and fame. But soon it's going to come down to survival. If these guys didn't have those, you know, materialistic, you know, things, or those certain possessions, or people didn't know their name, you know, and they wasn't all over TV and things of that nature and social media, they really wouldn't want them like that. But it's gonna come a point in time to where none of those things are gonna matter. Money is not gonna matter. Everything's gonna go digital, because they're gonna crash everything. They're gonna collapse everything and come in with a new system, a new world government, a new economic system. Everything will go digital, and you're gonna need the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, in order to buy or sell. So paper money is going to be meaningless. Everything is going to go. It's going to be a cashless society. All right. Social media, that shit going to mean nothing. Especially in a blackout, you can't even get on your phone. Especially, like, just say if an EMP attack happened, all technology is completely blown out. You know, it's no more social media, no more internet. So women's little bubble, they la la land, they whole mindset, they illusion of their reality or whatever, all that shit gonna come crashing down, you know. And the reality of prophecy is gonna smack them right in their mouth. And the only thing that's gonna be on their heart, mind, and soul in that day, I have to get me a man of the Lord, because it's gonna be very dangerous out here, you know. Martial law troops, maybe sickos, uh, you know, certain animals and beasts, or so forth and so on, you know, inmates that escape prison, and these different militia groups and so forth and so on, man. That's just, it's going to be very difficult to live, man. It's going to be a very arduous time for women, and they're going to be the biggest prey, because women are known as the weaker vessel, so they're vulnerable to attack. All right, and if they have something of value that a guy may desire or want, whether it be her body or a certain resource that she may have accumulated during that time, is going to be taken. Right? So a woman's biggest fear is being raped. And that's going to be on the table in a lawless society. During civil unrest, right? Without anybody to protect them. So a lot of guys, are going to most guys don't have integrity, and they just going to do what they want to do. They're gonna have their way. But a lot of women out here, and a lot of guys been, have built up resentment against women because of the way that they act. You know, all the bridges that women been burning, all the shit that they've been talking, all the wickedness that they've been sowing. Eve, the black woman, is writing a check that her ass is not going to be able to cash in the future. It's going to be very tough for them. And they're going to be seeking comfort and relief, some type of stability, protection, guidance, structure, direction, leadership, masculinity, hope. And they ain't gonna find it nowhere but the men of the Lord. And that's a fact. That's a fact, man. And we already have it now. We just not, valued. It's humility. It's gonna be about humility, all right, and willingness to change, the willingness to become a new woman in your house. The ability to be led, to submit to, you know, to unlearn the things that they've been taught and programmed with, about by this American Western culture and society, and convert and to their Israelite heritage, being a daughter of Zion. You know, modesty, certain scripture say how she shall be saved in childbearing if she continue with charity, holiness, faith, sobriety. You know, women gonna have to have the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High a great price, right? But every idle word that man or woman shall speak, they're going to give account in the day of judgment, you know. And a lot of women are saying certain things, and social media have exposed that. We see that shit all the time. How women, constantly put down the so-called black man, you know, telling them that they don't need them, how they ain't shit, they worthless, how they celebrate their death when we get killed by our oppressors, and so forth and so on. Like I don't like none of you niggas. I don't need none of you niggas. Niggas ain't this and niggas ain't that. Niggas this, niggas that. That's all they view us as is niggas. But in that day, they're gonna have to eat those words. And women ain't gonna want to be lonely during that time. They're gonna be seeking male companionship. And it ain't gonna matter what you look like in that day. I mean, this is gonna be extra, for brothers that's handsome in the truth. A lot of brothers handsome, good looking brothers, man. But that ain't what it's gonna be about, you know. But it made me think of Lamentations 4, the precious sons of Zion comparable to fine gold, how they esteem as earthen pictures, the work of the hands of the potter. So we're lightly esteemed, by our own women, but we comparable to the finest gold. Gold has different purity levels. The finest of gold, the most expensive, the most pure, we're comparable to that. But our women can't see it. These other nations of women, they starting to see it. And that's why a lot of brothers, a lot of Jakes, even Jakes in the world, they starting to date outside of their race, and they can do that, because as men we carry the seed. Whatever woman that we sleep with on earth, that child gonna come out of Israelite, and will have an Israelite soul, spirit. But if a woman, divest, she get with an Edomite man, a Moabite man, so forth and so on, she will bring forth the seed of whatever man that ejaculated inside of her. That's what she will bring forth. Our genes are naturally dominant, male or female. So the child 9 times out of 10 gonna come out looking like an Israelite, but we know that that's a tear. That's what we call a tear. It looks like wheat, but you look, examine a little bit. It's not. It's not wheat. So those are not Israelites. Whatever the father is, that's what your pedigree is. It goes back in what is in the book of Numbers. Our ancestors, we declared our pedigree after the house of our fathers. Right? But anyways, in that day, everything's going to shift. Everything's going to change, man. You're going to get a different energy, a different spirit, a different Israelite woman, They're going to naturally become more humble. The Lord's going to completely break their pride and humble them and abase them due to the collapse, because it's going to be very hard for them. They're going to struggle a lot when it comes to their personal hygiene, when it comes to, brushing teeth, taking a bath, taking care of their hair. All these things is going to suffer during that time. And that's why Isaiah 3:16 on down to the end of that chapter say what it say. That's the effects of the collapse. Instead of well-set hair, baldness, burning instead of beauty, instead of sweet smell, that should be stink. So they're gonna get humbled greatly, man. And they're gonna be they're gonna be funky. Hold on a second. I gotta get these keys too. you know, just continue, man, you know, and don't give up. You know, just keep our foot on the gas, keep our foot on the pedal, and keep moving, keep trucking, keep moving forward, keep pushing these prophecies. You know, keep doing what's required of us, man. You know, and let the black woman self-destruct. Cause I can't wait. I can't wait, man. You gotta let them fall, cause they way too powerful right now, man. You know, it's better just in this grace period that we have before the collapse, before all hell break loose, before the Lord, you know, start judging on a more larger level than He is now. You know, it's better to not deal with no woman, man. To be honest with you. You think you want that, but it's not something that you really want, man. You know, because really we want women a lot of times, but most of the time it's just because we be horny and shit. You know what I'm saying? We want to have sex. We men. We want companionship. You know, and someone to aid and assist us, to serve us. You know. In our along our path, but that's not a necessity. You know what I'm saying? We can live without them. They can't live without us. You know. And women come with its own set of hell. You know what I'm saying? And because Scripture say in 2 Corinthians 7, 1 Corinthians 7, such shall have trouble in the flesh. You know. So that come with its own trials and burden. But it's best to not deal with no woman, man. Just wait. You know. And work on yourself. Now, I can't tell Jake what to do with his dick. You can do what the fuck you want to do. But you know, it's all about being optimal in its truth. You know, and women can be a distraction, man. You know, you deal with them and shit here and there, get your rocks off and shit, and get back to work, man. They just a pastime, something to do. You know, but our purpose should come first. Because they really have no value. They're not virgins. They can't make a house into a home. They have a mindset of a veteran prostitute. You know what I'm saying? Straight up hoe, whore, 304. That's what these women out here, man, have regressed to, man. They're straight whores. That's all they are. They're all hoes. They hoes. You ain't gotta treat them like that, man. Hoes don't get no respect. Hoes don't have value, man. You gotta treat them that way. You should treat them how they treat themselves, how they carry themselves. Cause they ain't finna treat you how you should be treated. You know. So, Micah 7:10, she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? My eye shall behold her, now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. So hey, every dog got their day, man. Their time is coming, bro. Their time coming. And the Lord gonna pull their card. And boy, when I tell you they gonna get it, they gonna get it. Cause you gotta think about it, like, The Lord put us in charge over the woman. He gave us the authority. So she not only rebelling against us, she rebelling against the Lord. So that's double. That's twice the offense. So women gonna pay. You know. And plus, like, they can't defend themselves. They weak. They can't run fast, jump high, defend themselves like that, man. Like, they think about it. Like, their biology has them at a disadvantage going into Jacob's trouble. Just like them just being women, their gender alone. Not only, their gender, their mindset. These women out here don't believe that Jacob's trouble gonna happen. They don't have, water stacked up in a closet somewhere, for tough times or 30-day food supply or bug out bag. They ain't got none of that. Nor are they even consciously aware, okay, I might want to get this in the future or something like that, because, things may get worse. But women can't see the writing on the wall. They don't have foresight like men do. That's why men were prophets. A prophetess is a wife of a prophet. Right, so they are completely oblivious to what's about to happen and what's currently going on now. They're caught up in the illusion of this fake world, this fake society. They live in social media. They live for the glitz and the glamour. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life. Women are the express definition of what it means to be worldly. They're caught up in that worldly illusion. But the Lord is He's gonna wipe the glass. He's gonna wipe the fog from the glass. They're gonna see clearly, and they're gonna come to their senses, and realize how fucked up they have been, and what they've done. Yeah, and really they already know how fucked up of people that they are. That's why they don't like disciplined, righteous men. They don't like, because like it's a light to the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Darkness hate the light. You feel me? So that's why they, every beast loveth his light, right? So women gonna go after the guys that mirrors them. That's why they go for the worst niggas that they can fucking find, because they the worst fucking women. They let some stupid loser, some dumb nigga that can't even put a sentence together, some pistol toting, dread head, nigga got his pants hanging, halfway down his thighs, with his ass and dick out. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy how these hoes be picking guys. Niggas lips all black as fuck because all the smoking, the cigars and shit, smoking weed. Face all dull, ain't got no color to it. Niggas unhealthy, piss be fucking orange. Because they don't drink no water, niggas don't be working out. Niggas drink and just smoke and play the game, play Xbox and PlayStation. Playing 2K, playing Madden. That's all these niggas fucking care about. A lot of them niggas be gay. They be running around with dudes all fucking day. Be on the block. But they love these type of guys, man. And expecting that man to step up and face adversity during the time of Jacob's trouble, man. You know, scriptures speak about confidence in an unfaithful man during a time of trouble is as a foot out of joint. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Proverbs 25:19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. It's unstable. You know what I'm saying? You can't rely on it. You try to bite an apple, you know what I'm saying, with a broken tooth, a loose tooth, or you try to run with a dislocated ankle, you know, it's instability, and ultimately it's going to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Relying on Pookie and Man and Don Tavius and them in time of trouble, man. So these niggas gonna die, man. Real talk. These niggas gonna perish, and E just gonna be sitting there looking dumb. I've done videos, going into how women, a lot of women in America not gonna get picked. They're gonna be left here for the destruction. A lot of foreign women with more traditional values of foreign Israelite women, because Israelite women is just not here in America. Like, you got women, Israelite women, a lot of Afro population, they're Israelites. So you got Afro Mexican, Afro Puerto Rican, Afro Brazilian, and so forth. Like, not just in the West, Afro Colombian and Afro Dominican, not just in the Caribbean or the Bahamas or islands, whatever. You got South America too, but overseas as well. Our peoples that's the sand of the sea. So we don't just have to pick from them. You feel me? And a lot of those foreign women, they fucked up too, because the wine of Babylon have made all the earth drunken, corrupted America corrupted the whole earth. This American culture have poisoned the hearts and minds of many women abroad. But it's just, you're always gonna have that select few, right? That it hasn't really touched like that. Because their parents have done a better job than a lot of, other parents, single moms and shit like that here in the West, at raising their children in a decent fashion, protecting them, from a lot of things, a lot of influences of Western culture, right? Not letting them go out to parties, not letting them have phones, you know what I'm saying? Not letting them dress how they want to dress, giving them a certain curfew or bedtime, you know what I'm saying? Basically, giving them some type of discipline, a structure. They turn out to be, better women, especially if they have a good relationship with their father, and their father kind of put them on game like that, put them on some game and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So those women kind of turn out to be good. Well, not good, but, better than a lot of westernized women, And I got one, the Lord blessed me with one, my woman from Guyana in South America, so she was raised in one of those more traditional homes, for the most part. She have more qualities, traits, and characteristics that a lot of guys would look forward to wife and put their seed in, and I did just that. I cuffed her up, and I have a little boy with her, a little 3-month-old. So for a lot of brothers, they're going to get that in abundance. They're going to get women that that they can build with, that they're compatible with, that's able to be led under that righteous order. The Lord's going to pair us up with those type women that's suitable for building our house. Because each brother gonna have, it's like, the house of so and so, the house of this certain member of the elect. Because we're gonna start dynasties, right? The Lord's gonna start dynasties with each brother. And each brother gonna have a large portion of women, because after it's all said and done, the kingdom of heaven start to get, built from the ground up, and we back in our homeland, and our estates is, we entering into kingship. We have mansions, and we have land, we have resources. We get the earth in its fullness back. You know what I'm saying? And everything, the spoils. We get the spoils of war. We get the victory. We get everything that comes with rulership and dominion, and being a son of the Most High, a servant of the Most High King, right? And priest after the order of Melchizedek. The Lord's going to reward us immensely in many ways, and we're going to have abundance of all things, and we're going to be blessed. The blessings of Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14 is going to come upon us in its perfection. And one of those resources is women. We have a lot of, and a lot of women equals what? A lot of children. Got to bring the nation back. The Lord said He's gonna make a little one 1,000 and a small one a strong nation. How the Lord will hasten it in His time. And He's gonna give us the commandment to be fruitful and multiply. But it all starts on this side. With the collapse of America, and the Lord, completely wiping out the majority of the men of our nation, and humbling our women, and cleaning their heart, from a lot of American pollution, feminism, women's liberation, and all that shit like that. They gotta get cleansed from that shit, because it boosted their head up too much, made them too powerful. So they gotta get knocked down a couple notches. So it's a process, it's a process, and it's a necessary evil, But let's grab this scripture right here. 2 16 and 33, 34, we're going to close on out. And this verse right here, I'm going to say this too before I read it. It's kind of echoed in Isaiah 3. I want to say it's towards the end of that chapter. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Humbled, pride decimated. Right, 2 16 and 33, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish with famine. All right, let's get a definition for the word mourn. So it's going to be the emotional or mental state, or the effect or reaction that they're going to have to most of the men being dead, being drafted off to World War III, and dying of starvation. Whether it be the men that they had access to in the dating pool, and the men that they was dealing with, on an intimate level, or talking to the men that was chasing them, niggas that's all up in their DM, their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their daddy, you know what I'm saying? And so forth. They're going to mourn because of their loss, right? To feel or express sorrow, grief, or regret, to bemoan, to long after, right? To remember sorrowfully. To lament the death of, right? So they're going to lament. Lament goes into a crying or weeping, right? They're going to lament the death of the men of Israel, right? They're going to long after the men, right? They're going to regret the way that they treated us and how they viewed us, how they talked about us, right? They're going to regret everything. They're going to remember men sorrowfully, right? You never know how good you had it till it's what? Gone. Hey, Isaiah 32:2. A man should be as an hiding place from the wind and a cover from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Survival. Simple. Simplest word, one word I can put it. Survival. And that's going to come with a different level of desire. And it's going to be crazy, man. They're going to remember men sorrowfully, and they're going to be searching for one that they can find. If they come across one with a man of the Lord, and especially the man of the Lord going to have powers. Come on, man. Hey, flock. These bitches going to flock. That shit could be crazy, man. Your type gonna be fiending. All these Instagram models that may survive gonna be fiending. All these bitches, all these hoes, man, all these bitches, man, they end up survive fiending, chasing. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy. They just gonna want you to they just gonna want to be called by your name. They going to be under your umbrella, to be associated with you. Because they know if they don't get with you, it's going to be death. A lonely death. And women think that they want that now, because they got options. They feel like they don't have to, they cool off guys. As I've seen that interview, the guy go around asking women, would you be able to would you be able to go to a planet that's full of women, like if the man was to die off and stuff like that, would you be okay with, a planet just full of women, just straight women? And all of them, they would prefer that, That's what they prefer. They say that they would be cool with it, but really, we know deep down inside, man, they're not going to be cool with that shit, because prophecy say they're going to mourn when all the men die, when there ain't no more men left. They're going to be in a state of grief. So, hope this video was edifying. That's all I got for today, man. Hope this video was edifying. All praise to Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. Peace.